Good morning, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. Today we are going to be working on the Murder at the Luau, Chapter 4, Lasting Bonds is what it was called. And then this chapter is talking about the lab. So let me show you my fabrics first and then we'll get started. Here are the fabrics. And I got to tell you, these fabrics are really going to look good for what this turns out to be. So if you're following along, this is A1 and A2. Now don't get confused by this number up here because that's your color that you chose. This is the actually piecing. Alrighty? And so what it's saying is A1 has two long sides and one short side, which they're calling X, the short side. And it matches, the X of 1 matches the X of 2. So let's put these together. So, I don't know about you guys, but every time I do something that's out of the box here, it's different. Now, I'm going to show you this one here. This is what mine looked like when I put a little bit over the edge here. I'm going to show you this picture. Look what the picture looks like. It acts like the blue is bigger than the pink on both sides. And that's not how my template came out. But since I figure that it's more important to be at the tip, because you'll probably have to have one down this side, that I overlapped a little bit on this side. Hopefully it's not way off and distorted. Like I always say, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. So let me go ahead and sew these. Now it says to sew everything 1/4 inch unless it specifically says not to. So that's what you start out with. And I'm using a 12 needle. And I'm using white thread. My stitch is 2.5. And let me take a look at this so we can get an idea how it turned out. So that ends up being at the top like that. And I hope that is enough because if you look at it, all I did was have a 1/8 inch overhang on it. Okay, so you need to go ahead and chain stitch these. I went ahead and I made up the second block, or the second section here, I guess you call it, which looks like this. Let me see if I can get it in the camera here. And I think what you're looking at when you put these together, now the second one matched up pretty good because it's got little ends on each, but I think you're trying to get this and this to go and line up together. And then there's going to be a third one over here. So I don't know how it happened. I don't know if my, I'm looking at my piece that I cut my template and it doesn't look off any compared to any other ones. So I went ahead and left it like that because this will be trimmed off anyway when you make your square. And it does say the 1/4 inch. It doesn't say 1/8 of an inch. So what I did to pin this one on is I kind of lined up the left and the right and then pinned it from the bottom down here, which gives me a little bit hanging off there, and pinned it down like that. I did a practice pin first so that my pins were going this direction. Then I folded it over to take a look at it to see if I liked it. And then when I decided I liked it, I went ahead and then unpinned it, just repinned each single one before I went ahead and sewed it. But see, the seam's got to be about from here to here. So it's just going to be taken, just kind of like eyeballing it. I mean, I guess you could lay a ruler down and do a friction pin, but I don't know if that'll work or not, to be truthful with you. It's not as if it's a specific amount of inches down from the top. When I get my next one, I'll see if it is so many inches from the top down. Let me see what this one is. And I'll try to see if they all match. So from the top of my fabric, which is right here, let's just fold it and make sure. So from the very tip top down to the seam line to this 1/4 inch is 1.5 inches. I'll see if the next one is the same thing. But you know, flowers are like anything. I'm gonna guess this is a flower. I think it is. It just says lasting bonds. So I'm not sure if they're flower, if it's a flower or not. But I'm going to call it a flower. So in the real world, flowers aren't all identical anyway. So if this is off up a little bit, what difference does it make? But anywho, so go ahead and sew all of these. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chain stitch them all. I'll do one more here. And I'm just putting the one pin in it and holding it with my finger. When I take my pin out, I'll go ahead and just grab the pin and use it. Let's move it over a little bit to get it a 1/4 inch. And then just do every one of them. And that's it. Just do all those. And then we'll be back after all of those are finished. And the next section is made the same exact way. They're just a little bit bigger. So you want to go ahead and you want to pin your right and your left sides of the B1 and B2. And so that you don't accidentally, when you attach this, you don't accidentally attach one of these long ones. Think of this, now just look at the blue part, think of it as a pyramid. The bottom is the short part, and then these two sides are identical when they go up. So you want the short side on the fabric. Now I put a little bit on each side. That's what's sticking out. That's a poor example there because it's flipping, but as you can see, they're each sticking out, and this one's crooked, but you got the gist of it. Anyway, now we can go ahead and chain stitch all of these. And I'm going to show you what these, I'm going to put it on here and show you what these look like, which are the ones that we just stitched. Hold on so I can make sure they don't all fall off here as I show them to you. All right, so you should have all of these done. This is the left and the right side. There you go. Let me see if I can hold it. There. All right, so all of these are done. And now we're making the next set that are just like it, except it's a lighter pink. Okay. All right. So just chain stitch these. And I'm going to do it this way because I think that's a lot easier. Just do all of them like that. Let me go and tell you a little bit about the chapter. So the whole entire chapter is them talking and in the morgue. So Kitty went, and of course it's rehashing things. For example, she looked at all the equipment, and she has been in a whole bunch of different labs. So she said it's not top of the line, which she normally works in, a top of the line lab, but it's not low of the line either. So she was remembering when her dad made not her dad, her grandfather, made a comment, which made me think of my dad. Her dad told her that you want to buy the best tools that you can afford, because if you buy cheap, you'll be repeat buying them. And my dad said the same thing when it came to furniture and appliances for your home. He said, do not buy something cheap to get by with. Buy what you want, save for it, and get something decent and it'll last you a lifetime. And the prime example of that is that when we got our first home, we went and looked at sectional couches because we had I think it was a 18 by 24 inch living room. It was like a living room, great room combined off of the kitchen. And so we wanted a wraparound couch. And this was back in 1990, I want to say it was either 1990 or 1991. I don't remember which year. And I still have that couch. I have not reupholstered it. I have not done anything to it. And it had some kind of, and you can buy it in a can nowadays, but it's a soil resistant on the fabric. And I have not seen that fabric material since, and I really like it because it's a really pretty light blue. It's light blue like this square, and then it has pin stripes, and it's pink like this, and then a cream, and it's every other one. So it's a pink, then a cream, then a pink, then a cream. And there are probably about either between an 1/8 and a 1/4 inch apart. And it looks really, really nice. And that couch has lasted forever. I have even given sections of it away. Somebody was moving into a new apartment and they could not afford a couch, so I gave the couch goes like this. It's 2 seats. It's 2 seats, then there was a curve, then there was 1 seat, and then 2 seats. So it had 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. So the first thing I gave away was the curve. Then that made for a 5-seat couch, and you either went 3 and 2 or you went 5 straight along the wall. And then I ended up giving one of the other ones away for somebody else that didn't have any. And so now I have only the 4, so it has 2 and 2, and I just have it straight along the wall. But like I said, I've had it forever. And the cushions haven't been replaced, and the cushions are really, really good. They are nice and firm. But like I say, I have not seen a couch like that. And it's not a Flexsteel, it's not a Lazy Boy. I don't even know what the name brand of it is, to be truthful with you. But like I said, it was bought back either in June of 90 or June of 91. I can't remember. I think it was 91. No, it must have been 90 because my kids were in high school. They had 1 year left. So it would have been 1990. So, well, anyway, so on with the story. So she goes in there, she sees all the equipment, and then, of course, the coroner, whose name I can't remember all those names, can't even pronounce them, but anyway, she steps aside and wants Kitty to go ahead and do it, and so Kitty said yes. And while they're in there and they're discussing a little bit about the body and all that, a guy comes in and brought some utensils that had been cleaned. Come to find out, he was the assistant. And he didn't know who this body was yet. He only knew that they had brought a body in. So then when he sees the person on the table, he got like all teary-eyed and choked up. And then he goes ahead and he tells his story. And he said what had happened was he was getting away from home. And so he got on a plane and used all his money and got as far away as he could. And he ended up in Hawaii on that island there. And he said that he was so ashamed of himself because he hadn't thought it all out about what happened. He used all his money up to get there, but he didn't think when he got there, where was he going to live? How was he going to eat? What was he going to do? He was 17 when he did that. So he'd been living on the beach hiding. And one day this woman walked up to him and he thought he was dreaming. She reached her hand down and helped him up. And then she took him to a restaurant that was there on the beach, and it had a all-you-can-eat type of smorgasbord. And she said, let him have whatever he wants. I'm going to be paying for it. And so the first thing he thought was, oh my gosh, he's a charity case, and he didn't want to be a charity case. But come to find out, she sat down the entire time that he ate his meal. But anyway, she did that every single day. And then she helped him get into a home that had a whole bunch of other boys that were in the same kind of predicament. They were more or less homeless. She got him back into school. He graduated, and she even got him a job. So come to find out, so Kitty said, well, is this like a normal thing? Did she do that all the time? And they said, yes, she did it with everybody. Her and her husband always helped everyone who was down on their luck or something like that. And so this woman who has been murdered, evidently, I wouldn't say that she was a celebrity, but she was well known on the island to help all the people that were in need. She did a lot of things for the people on the island, her and her husband both. So Kitty is going to try to figure out who killed this lady. And so the first thing they're trying to do is to make sure that, yes, it is murder and it wasn't an accident. So then Kitty is explaining to them how, because of the position that this lady was laying in that grave, that could not have been an accident, because the way this woman's legs were twisted underneath her, she said if she jumped in or she fell in, there's no way her legs could have been in that direction. So it definitely was murder, and now they're trying to figure out. So, you know, they say, well, how would we begin to solve this? Because they don't really know, because they don't have any murders on the island. And she said, what we're going to do is we're going to ask questions, but we have to ask the right questions. And so they both said they'll do it. Whatever she says to do, that's what they're going to do. And then that was the end of this chapter. All right, so go ahead and pin all of these, and then we're going to sew them together. I'm going to get you started, and then you're going to continue. And I'm chain stitching these also. And let me get this second one done so I can find out where it fell compared to that first one. What did I say it was? 1.5. Let me double check here. Yes. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, that ended up being 2. So see, even though, let me see if I can let you see it in the camera here. All right, so the first one is this one here on the left. So the distance between this edge right here whoops. Trying to mark it with my pencil. The difference between that edge right there and this corner down here, right there, where the stitch meets, was 1.5. But on this one, from here to the top up here, is 2. And you can even tell the distance between this little piece right here and this little piece right here is more. But when I'm eyeballing them, because that's what I did to figure it out, I'm just looking at this and this, trying to eyeball it. So like I said, I'm not going to worry about it because I don't think they should all be perfect anyway. So just go ahead and chain stitch all of these, and then I'll come back and we'll get that next one done. We'll put that's the longest pieces, which is, what is it here? It's C1, I think. I got it covered. It is, nope, it is C3. That's what the next piece is. All right, here they are when you got them done. And now we're going to make the next set that will go on these strips right here. I was ahead of myself. Actually, we're doing the piece C1 and C2. C1 is this one, which has got a curve in it, like that. Whoops. Let's turn it this way so you can see it. And then this one here is our C2. Let me show you here. That's the one with the curve. So we're going to have to put them together like this. Like this and that. Okay. So see how it's got the bump in there? Whoops, because that's got to go all the way around that curve. So I'm thinking about this section we're having to do here. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this would be so hard for somebody that's new. What I did, since you can't really mark a curve unless you have, and a lot of people don't have it, a curved ruler with a 1/4 inch, what I did was I just went ahead and I sewed around the edge of it. I'm going to show it to you. I also have already got it pinned, but let me show you what I got so you will know what I'm talking about. So you can see the stitch. I stitched 1/8 of an inch on the fabric by itself. I'll show you this one here. See right there where I've stitched it. Okay. Then I pinned it to this curve on that yellow fabric with a whole slew of pins. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew. Let me get my thing here so I can show you. So since this is the, actually this is the scant, so that's the 3/16. So I'm going to come on this side of the line, right on the edge of that line, and go around it. Then I won't have to take this out. And after I got that whole thing basted, I got to thinking, why didn't I use that thread that disappears? Of course, you know, that's like hindsight. I totally forgot about it. But I don't want to have to pull all these stitches out, so I went the scant 1/4 inch, and then I'll just come right on the other side for my 1/4 inch. So let me do that and see if that works. I know it's a lot of pinning and all that kind of thing, but... And then the reason that I went down, I grabbed this piece that was sticking and I pinned it, is so that it wouldn't... It'll end up with a bulge if you don't. Okay. There we go. Now I can take a pin out. And if it gets some kind of little creases, I'm not going to cry about it. I'll tell you. I can't always be perfect. Okay, let's go. Pull that out. So I'm going to guess that this section is going to be the longest to sew. Only because you've got to go so slow to get it in there. I hope my hands are not in the way. Okay, because you got to turn this. Let's get off the edge here. Alrighty. Let's take a look at it. There you go. And so the back, let me show you. Looks like that with the double stitching. Okay, and then you just iron it. And that's what I'm going to do to every single one of these. So I've already got these sewn, all these little things right here. All I got to do is attach all these little yellow pieces. Take your time, because it's going to be a minute to get it all done. No hurry. If you've got to take a break, go get a drink, go take your dogs out, play with your cat, play with your kids, you know, so that you don't get all upset and tense about this, because it's going to be a little bit to get it all done. All right, so when they're all sewed and ironed, they look like this. And now we're going to work on the next piece. All right, I've pinned them, and I'm going to show you how I pinned them, because this is acting just like the very first one. Let me take this off my wrist because it keeps hitting that camera. All right. So you lay it across here, but this is supposed to fit with a little bit of overhang, and it's not fitting. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a 1/4 inch off the edge here, give or take. Some have more. And then I'm pinning on this end, going to this end down here, pinning it. And then in this case, to hold this down, because it's going to come across, that foot's going to come across this, I'm holding it down. So as you can see, what I'm trying to do is keep about the same. I did a sample. Let me see here. I can do a sample for you to show you what I did first off. So all you do to make sure it works is you pin it as if this needle was the seam. Okay? On both ends, because you want to see what it looks like. And then flip it like that. And that's what it's supposed to look like. It's going to be like this. So I'm going to end up cutting this off and this off on the other end. So all I'm doing is eyeballing to put about a 1/4 seam or more on the right hand side, which is where the yellow's at. About like that. And then just pin it, because it has more yellow than it has blue. And I'm trying to pin it right at the corner so I know where to start. But also I need to pin this to hold this down so it doesn't get jammed on it. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each one to make sure they're approximate, because I got to have some kind of blue in here. So that looks like a little bit more. This looks about the same. This looks like a little bit more. That looks about the same, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to chain stitch all these. And here's the other set. So just chain stitch all of these. And this is coming from off the fabric because it's coming right there before the red. And it's all at a 1/4 inch. So I don't know how my templates got to be the wrong size, but they did. Now I need to put my pen cushion back on my wrist. Okay. I hope this video is not too long. I'm trying to keep them short because it's taking forever to upload them when it comes time to get them online. I think I might have gotten off my, I got off my 1/4 inch, so I have to, I don't know how that happened, but let's get back in there and just a hair off. There we go. I'm going to need to take a break here. I came up first thing and I didn't eat any breakfast, and it's after 2:30 already. I wanted to get this started because I knew it was going to take a minute to get it done. Seems to be having a tough time to get through that bump right there on that yellow. Alrighty. I think I may have found a new scissors. I picked up these. They came up in one of my feeds and it was on sale. I didn't even know that this brand of scissors made these little things here. I was expecting them to be heavy like their original. I think I got a 10-inch pair for cutting. So I was expecting these to be heavy. And then imagine my surprise when I picked them up and they were like totally lightweight. There's no weight whatsoever on them. And they're that, they're the Kai brand. Those little, they got the curve on them. I don't know if you can even read the name on them. I don't think you can. It's right here. Where my finger's at? Probably not. Looks like a blur in the. Let's see if you can catch the name on it. I don't know if you can or not with the light there. But these are really neat little scissors. They're very lightweight. So when you have them all sewn up, they look like this. And now we're going to attach them on to the 2 pieces we did earlier. This is how they will be attached. We're going to attach this to this stack, and this to that stack. And then we will put them together before we put our green and our blue on. Okay, so when I pinned these two pieces together, the one that we already did earlier and the new one that we just finished configuring, I'm going to show you what I've done. Alright, so I took this, I laid it on this side because that's where it goes, and it needs to go a little bit off. So I measured it with the first one that I did after I did my little sample pinning, and it is a 1/2 inch and then just a smidgen, and that's where I pinned it. Because this blue that's on the one that we just finished plus the other two blue somehow all have to be together. So all I did was just pin this, and then I'm going to show you what I noticed on the pattern. I have no clue if this is even going to work. I'm very disappointed in this block. I'm calling it a block. It's probably 4 blocks in one or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm disappointed in this month. And I'm going to show you why. So here's the directions. When you're looking at this, and maybe they trimmed it. I don't see where they said to trim this at all. But yet, if you look, that's not a straight bottom. This up here looks like a straight bottom on this one here. But when you get down here to this picture, that's not a straight bottom. That's a diagonal bottom. Look, diagonal. That's you got a side seam in that one. There's a diagonal. There's a diagonal. My template's not diagonal. I'm going to show you my template. There's my template. Where is the diagonal on that template? Now the other end, that's diagonal. But this is showing a diagonal on both ends. This one here. So how can they be showing a picture with a diagonal but they don't give it to you? I don't understand. I guess they just figure you're going to ad-lib it. What if I was brand new to sewing and I have no clue? I wouldn't be able to put this together. I mean, I'm making do. I'm making it up as I go along here, trying to get it to fit. I don't even know if it's going to fit. Well, let's go ahead and sew these together. I'm going to turn it upside down as I sew it. So it's not starting in the middle, I mean on the edge or anything. It's actually on the red. And based on that picture, I should have been off the fabric and coming onto it, but it's not what I've got here to work with, so I am just going with what I got. If you're new to sewing, I hope you didn't pay for this and get it and now you're struggling with it. And I'm making do with it. I can always make it turn out, even if the directions are wrong. I've already been down that path where the directions were totally wrong. And I do believe I can understand how they can be wrong. I mean, I don't know how many people built this block from exactly what they've given us to make sure it all worked. Sometimes they don't even do that. So, and if there's any kind of update on the pattern, I'm not aware of it. I haven't been emailed anything. Of course, it'd be a little bit too late now. I've already cut all my fabric out and everything. And I don't want to square any of this stuff up for fear it might not fit and I might have to take it out. go ahead and continue and put all these together. And then I'll be back. As I finish putting these all together, I'm going to go ahead and close this video and make this a two-part because before my editing, I've already got over an hour in this first half that I've done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put all these together. And then what I have to do is I have to cut them down to 5.5-inch blocks. And I will show you how I do one. I did it off to the side and it did not come out correctly. So I will show you what I've done so that I've got the 5.5. Because where the mistake is that I don't have it, it is at the tip top where the yellow is at, and none of the green or the blue I don't think gets attached to it. I'll look here when I get going. But anyway, I'm going to close this video for now, and I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to tell you guys just in case you all had the same problem I had. So until next time, which is the next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.